All right, I think we're going to get started. We've got most people logged in, and we'll get started. Welcome to today's webinar. The topic today is an update on the B-21 program being put into Ellsworth Air Force Base. My name is Brian Vulcan, president of Forefront Design in Rapid City. I'm here today as a member of the Black Hills Military Advisory Coalition. And under our coalition, we have several members. We're actually a coalition of associations. Several organizations within the Black Hills region have banded together with one purpose, and that is to support the mission of the military in the Black Hills region. Some of our coalition members is the South Dakota Ellsworth Authority, the South Dakota School of Mines Technology, Elevate Rapid City, the Society of American Military Engineers, Black Hills Post, Ellsworth and South Dakota National Guard leadership, local and state leadership, and other organizations with an interest in furthering the mission of our military in the Black Hills. Our military advisory coalition has 3 committees. We call them pillars. I represent the defense economy pillar, and that group is dedicated to furthering the coordination and relationships between the business community and our military. The other 2 committees deal with quality of life and community engagement and education. Anybody wants any more information on our coalition, you can go to blackhillsmac.com and show an interest, and you be able to participate. So today's talk is a follow-on to one we did a year ago, where we gave a update on the B-21 program at Ellsworth. Some of the same speakers today. You'll hear some of the same information. We're going to replow some ground, but we are going to give an update where the government is on some of their contracting actions and some of the opportunities out there. We have a couple great speakers from the Army Corps of Engineers. We have Andy Niemeyer. He's the program manager at the Omaha District of the Corps of Engineers, handling the program for the B-21 at Ellsworth. And he has a couple folks from AFCEC with him today. He's going to introduce those folks when he speaks. And then we have Jason McDonald with Walsh Construction. Walsh Construction was awarded the first major project out at Ellsworth. It's the low observable hangar. He's going to give an introduction to Walsh Construction and some of their needs. One of the things that we committed to as a community was to make the B-21 fielding at Ellsworth a success. And we know that it's going to take a concerted effort by both the community and the government to pull this off. Labor, local suppliers, contractors, different ones. So we want to facilitate these discussions so that those large firms that do win the construction contracts for this important program have access to everything that we have here in the Black Hills to offer to make them successful. So I want to let everybody know that we are recording this, and just so that you're aware of that. If you have questions, there is a Q&A portion of this Zoom call. Go ahead and put your questions there. We're going to filter through them and try and facilitate answering those questions that come up most often. I think we're going to try and get to all of them, but if not, like I said, we are recording this, and we're going to try and do some sort of frequently asked question process afterwards so everybody can get answers to their questions. So I want to start out by turning it over to Andy Tiemeyer and letting him give his presentation on from USACE. Andy, you ready to take over?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Let me try to get this projected here. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. So first of all, I wanted to, the voice on the phone there, I wanted to introduce, thanks everybody for listening in today. I wanted to introduce, we have Naomi Gabriel and Charlie Andre with AFCEC that are on the line as well. So we'll dive more into some of the stakeholders for the program here shortly, but they're project managers with AFCEC, and if we, depending on the nature of the questions and things like that come up, may defer to them on some of those details. So ultimately, we gave a brief on the program almost exactly a year ago, and so I'm going to try to strike a balance between presenting updates without leaving everybody too terribly lost if this is the first time you've heard about the program. So as far as today goes, this is going to be primarily a construction-oriented update. We'll talk a little bit about where some of these projects are in design and things like that, but yeah, mostly looking at construction. I have a slide here that we briefed a year ago about a little bit about the weapon system. Ultimately, I'm not an expert on that, but we're excited to design and construct a bunch of facilities for this new weapon system that the Air Force is delivering, so bringing into operations. As far as primary government stakeholders go, we have quite a list, and this certainly isn't exhaustive, but we have, I work for the Army Corps of Engineers Omaha District. As Brian said, I'm the program manager for the bed down at Ellsworth. We have AFCEC is where the Corps of Engineers receives our engagement and authority for delivering these facilities. We have the Air Force Global Strike Command, who's the primary user command for all this construction. At Ellsworth, I know we have some people listening in on the phone from the Ellsworth Air Force Base B-21 Program Integration Office. So they're responsible for integrating this new mission set into the existing operations at Ellsworth, and are extremely critical to delivering these facilities in a coordinated and phased manner. We have Ellsworth Air Force Base Civil Engineering Squadron, who will be accepting the facilities and responsible for ensuring operations and maintenance facilities to meet the operational needs. And then we also have Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center, DET 10, and they kind of liaison between Global Strike and AFCEC and provide policy and guidance and goals for the bed down. I was asked to kind of maybe build on what the Army Corps of Engineers role is, maybe answer the question why a bunch of people with Army behind their name are involved with the Air Force bed down. Ultimately, we are the design and construction agent for the Air Force for the bed down. And so we're involved kind of through the entire delivery of these projects, from planning through design and construction. And we provide that on the government side, some continuity through all of those phases of project delivery. We issue, negotiate, and award design contracts or task orders. In this case, a lot of these are going to be issued through existing indefinite delivery contracts. We'll talk about those a little bit more later. And then we typically award those to a prime AE that may utilize subcontractors. Similarly, on construction contracts, we award construction contracts to prime contractors only, and then those contractors may utilize subs. So, Jason's with Walsh will be talking here in a few minutes. He'll probably dive in a little bit on what those needs are, but our focus is usually interacting with prime contractors. We have several offices within our district that are involved with the bed down. I sit in Omaha at our headquarters building. we have an area office, the Black Hills area office, which is in downtown Rapid City, and then we have a resident, a local office at Ellsworth. Throughout the slide deck, I'm going to focus on things that we've maybe updated a little, that are updates from our last presentation. But ultimately, we talked at the last briefing about a record of decision an EIS was ongoing. That was completed, and the record of decision was signed in June 2021. So that was a big milestone for Ellsworth and the bed down. As far as project types, we have a pretty good cross section of project types with a variety of features of work that are going to be delivered through the coming years. Right now, the FY22 project load is somewhere in the range of $225 to $275 million. You're talking new construction, demolition, some ad alter type work, infrastructure, airfield paving, remediation of some hazardous materials, whether that's inside building or soil, and then there's kind of the fit out of the facilities that may come along with some of these projects. So larger projects in the bed down are front loaded with some of the O&M type and repair type projects that are kind of trail in the bed down. Last year I think we were pretty vague on the bulk of the bed downs occurs in the North Ramp area, Ellsworth Air Force Base. That's kind of highlighted on this slide here. I'm not sure that we presented this, but this is kind of a map of a good chunk of the projects that we're currently tracking. This is all obviously subject to change, but the image, or sorry, the facilities highlighted in yellow there are either a combination of new or renovated facilities that we're tracking. So as far as unique features and common threads for design of these facilities, a lot of them are, well, almost all of them be utilizing a design bid build delivery method. A lot of that's focused on the fact that we're designing facilities for a weapon system that's currently under development. And then there's a lot of secure features associated with these facilities and things like that. So obviously, with it being a new aircraft bed down, there's airfield paving in the mix, and then utilities, infrastructure, and other tails types of work that we're delivering, or we're targeting to deliver through the bed down. As far as procurement goes, and this is mostly focused on construction contracts, we start as early as we possibly can to engage with industry on the best and most efficient ways to procure these projects. So about 1 year out from actually advertising a project, we'll begin a market research phase. You start to see and this has become a little bit repetitive, but ultimately we post all kinds of information on sam.gov regarding individual projects. So definitely keep tabs on that website. Typically a search with B-21 is a good start to see what's going on. We use a lot of RFPs for construction services, utilizing a best value trade-off methodology. Some of them, actually a lot of them that are out right now, we're using a bifurcated approach where we will issue for qualifications a little bit ahead of time, and then issue for pricing. When we issue for qualifications, it'll be on a mostly complete design, and then we'll issue a second volume, a complete design for pricing when those are available. So there's also, given the type and requirements of the project, we may look at pre-qualifying sources if necessary. And again, solicitations are always posted on, or almost always posted on sam.gov. We have quite an array of projects under various stages of planning, design, and now starting into construction. Right now, we have FY22 through 24 projects under design. We have 24 and 25 projects entering planning. And then last year we talked about, we have various AE IDIQs that we're tracking, Ultimately, those have been awarded since then. So here's a list of the prime AEs that are on those IDIQs. Most of our B-21 work is targeting that B-21 IDIQ coming out of Kansas City District, but ultimately we tend to use all the tools that we have at our disposal to deliver on the requirements for this bed down. So Jason with Walsh is going to talk about the LO hangar, but ultimately that was our first major award for the Ellsworth bed down. That occurred in mid-September last year. So I'm not really going to dive in on that. I'll let him speak to that project. Two-bay hangar facility. Then ultimately we have several FY22 large MILCON projects that are advertised for pricing right now, and pricing is due very, very soon on a lot of these. So I'm going to quickly gloss through some of these, but you can see here, I've tried to provide updated information, contract and advertisement numbers where I can. So we have a wash rack and maintenance hangar, a two-bay hangar, actually sits right next to the LO hangar. We have a mission operations planning facility with a lot of security requirements attached to that. Pricing on this one is going to be due currently in late January. We have a field training detachment facility that was, initially advertised in October with this is, I have a note here, I actually didn't highlight, I should have. This is consolidated with the MPF facility in a single procurement. They sit on a shared site, very, tight site constraints. So we've issued these two projects as a combined RFP. We have a formal training unit and an AMU, aircraft maintenance unit, that was advertised, and pricing proposal were just due before the end of the year here. We have an ad alter simulator facility with pricing due early next week. And then a little bit more near term here, but a few months out, we have a renovation of the historic Pride hangar at Ellsworth to a B-1 parts facility. So we've issued a source of thought on that back in August, but ultimately looking to advertise that one here in the second quarter, early third quarter. We just issued a source of thought for FY23 project, a radio frequency facility. So definitely looking for industry feedback on that project. The source of thought information is posted on the slide here. Ultimately looking to award that one in around second quarter of FY23. We have a phase hangar. So this is getting a little bit more outlying. It's the FY24 or so project. It's a two-bay hangar that's currently under design. Looking to target a construction contract award in FY24. Similarly, a fuel system maintenance dock. Again, looking to target an award in FY24. This is a single bay facility. And then even further out than that, there's an abundance of opportunities laying out there. So we have environmental protection shelters, some warehouses, some renovations for different types of trainers and simulators, some additional runway projects, alert facility. There's also not technically a B-21 project, I guess in the government's eyes, but obviously occurring at Ellsworth for a weapons generation facility, and then a variety of other projects. Almost all of these would be being issued through the Corps of Engineers, but there may be instances where the base has other smaller type projects that could be issued by the base. Here's an image that shows kind of a conceptual image of the North Ramp area. A lot of this work is new or renovations. As far as resources go, ultimately there's a variety of resources out there. We there's a EIS website. There is a fact sheet on that the Air Force has posted on the B-21 Raider that may provide a little bit of additional background on the actual weapon system and the bed downs. And then I posted the AFCIC and USACE websites there. Again, as far as procurements and contracting and that type of stuff, SAM.gov is an excellent resource to see what's the latest and greatest on all of these projects. So ultimately, I posted my contact information here, and then I also wanted to say we have a very strong interest in supporting small business, and so we have some small business liaisons within the district. I've included their information in the back here if you're trying to figure out how to get into federal contracting and things like that. Mr. Corrado and Mr. Hibbert are excellent resources for getting you engaged with those types of things. So don't hesitate to reach out to them. So ultimately, I guess I'm happy to answer any questions that I can. I guess Naomi, or Charlie, did I miss anything that you think we should talk about?
No, I think that was a great overview. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Andy. This is Brian Vulcan again. I'm looking to see if we have any questions out there. Posted none on the Q&A. Let me just check the chat real quick to see. One question, Andy. Are we going to see the B-21 flying around this year? I think we can answer that, but thought it was interesting. I don't think the aircraft's going to get actually fielded at Ellsworth until 2025. Is that about right?
I think we brief delivery on track for the mid-2020s.
Yeah, okay.
I'm certainly not the expert on that type of topic.
Okay. All right, I'm just going to QA here or in the chat. There's a couple more questions. You mentioned something about soil remediation. Can you talk a little bit more about that, Andy?
Right. So with all of these projects, when we enter design, we tend to do soil sampling and testing and things like that. So ultimately, each contract, the intent, at least at this juncture, is each contract, when it does site work, it conveys, those contracts convey the extent and requirements associated with soils treatment or remediation and things like that. And then each individual construction contract will be each individual project will be responsible for remediating the soils within its site limits or to the extent that are required, depending on the contents of that soil. Does that make sense?
It made sense to me. I hope you answered the question so people can get to who we need to. Yeah, absolutely. That question was answered. Somebody asked a question, are we going to be able to see the slides? And we will post the slides on the Black Hills MAC website. If that's not correct, Lynn, let me know. Let's see, I want to make sure all the questions are answered here. So they're coming in a couple different directions. So just give me a second. Okay. Yeah, I think so. Andy, thank you. And Charlie and Naomi for coming on. And I know your schedules are tight. Obviously, you have a lot of things going on. We appreciate you taking the time to spend with us here in the Black Hills and others who are interested in this program. I think we'll switch gears now, and I want to introduce Jason McDonald. Jason's with Walsh Construction. As we've mentioned a couple of times, they were awarded the first contract in this program, major contract in this program for construction. And they do have some needs, and we want to make sure that they able to tell folks, suppliers and contractors and other people in the region and community what they need to make their project successful. So Jason, if you want to come on and go ahead and share your slides. Go ahead and get started. Jason, I think we got to have you off mute to start over again.
There we go. Now we're cooking. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you, everybody, also for participating in this. This is a great opportunity. We certainly welcome this opportunity to get plugged into this local community here at Box Elder, Rapid City, and Ellsworth Air Force Base. Yes, we were awarded the low observable restoration facility. We'll get more into that here in just a minute. A little bit about who we are and who I am. Project manager with Walsh Construction. I've been with Walsh my entire career out of school, about 18.5 years. I've been about 10 years on military contracts. Prior to that, airports. So I'm just finishing up a project at Tinker Air Force Base where we did a 2-bay KC-46 hangar, and again, I'll touch base on that here in a minute. A little bit about Walsh, our overview, and who we are. Here's our mission statement: leading the construction services industry by offering our clients the highest level of internal expertise, safety, a fully integrated suite of services, and a family approach to business. Walsh is going into its 4th generation of leadership with the company as a family-owned business. Core values: to be the builder of choice, the employer of choice, and to set the highest standards for ethics, quality, and safety, and achieve a fair balance of responsibility, profitability, and citizenship. We have about 8,000 craft employees within the company, 21 regional offices throughout US and Canada. We bounce around as far as largest contractor in the US, but our goal certainly isn't to be the largest contractor in the US. Our goal is to just be the best in every market that we go into. Here's an overview of our regional offices throughout the country. And a lot of these are market driven, and where the markets are, kind of demand that we have those regional offices there to better facilitate and support the needs of our employees and our clients in those regions. Quick overview of the different market sectors that we're in. Aviation, office, correctional. There we've got a section there for government. That is the particular group that I am in. I'm in the National Building Group West. Here's a picture of our current leadership. Matt and Dan Walsh, there in the middle. Those are the 3rd generation of the company. And then flanking on the left and right is Sean Walsh and Daniel Walsh Jr. And those are their up and coming leadership for our company. Walsh was founded in 1898. Matt Walsh immigrated from Ireland to Chicago for the construction of the World's Fair, and then shortly thereafter, the 1891 World's Fair, and then shortly thereafter founded Walsh Construction. And I guess the rest, as they say, is history. It's just been building on blocks one step at a time. A little bit about kind of where we're at nationally. Just some of our stats. I won't get into too much of that right there. But definitely airport builders, highways, they're definitely some of the large items that we participate in. I've cut out a lot of the slides for project experience. Just wanted to kind of touch base here. This is some of our recent federal experience. Here down in the lower right-hand corner, we see the KC-46 hangars at McConnell Air Force Base. We actually finished those just prior to taking on the 2-bay restoration facility. It's a maintenance depot at Tinker Air Force Base. I wasn't fortunate enough for them corporate to give me a slide for my project, but I'll have to talk to them about that. Quick overview of our timeline for the low observable hangar here at Ellsworth. I think you've already seen this similar slide from Andy. So this is what we were fortunate enough to be awarded this year. So our NTP was October 28th. So a little bit of the project details. This includes the demolition of the existing hangar. This is Dock 60 and Row 60. which is the row immediately adjacent to the Pride hangar. And construction of 120,000 square foot restoration facility. This will be it's a reinforced concrete foundation with a structural steel superstructure with exterior masonry and insulated metal wall panels. The restoration facility has it's a hangar door plenum system with a filter wall system. This allows the facility to, for plane restoration and the coatings, to be able to ventilate the hangar space by flowing air from the front of the building when the doors are closed. The front doors act as a plenum, and then the air is pushed across, and it's a very large amount of air. It's on par with 800 to 1 million cubic feet per minute of air moving across there. You really can't feel it, but it keeps it move through there to make it a safe environment for everybody that's working on the planes and with either fuel systems and or paint systems. And there's also, this project also contains some administration and support areas. Overview of the contract timeline. This contract has an 1,100-day duration that started on October 28th. So this will finish in October of 2024. The abatement and demolition we're looking at through Q1, Q2 of 2022. So this winter and the spring, foundations and structural steel, Q2 through Q4 of 2022. Then we'll start the skin and the roof panels. That'll be Q4 22 through Q3 23. Interior concrete, Q2 and Q3 of 2023. And then we'll transitioning into the finishes and the mechanical build outs. We'll start in Q3 of 23 through Q2 of 24. And then we'll go into a commissioning and training phase of the closeout, Q3 of 24. Anticipated project needs, definitely small business. We definitely want to make sure that we're reaching out to the local community and getting participation from small businesses. It certainly helps to have local business, folks that are familiar with the area that are working with us and working with our teams on site. Also, local staff and project labor are also a huge help to, especially if we're fortunate enough to land some of these other projects. It definitely makes a big difference on how we staff our projects if we can get local people in those positions. Housing and RV slips, etc. The RV slips is actually, I threw that in there I was hoping my boss was going to be here. He's looking for a place to park his coach this summer, and we were looking around. I too was also looking for a spot to stay. It looks like the housing market is definitely hot here, and I see a lot of building going on. It looks like there's a lot coming to the area, and it's just not easy at this point to find places for people to live. And so I think as more of these projects come online, that's certainly going to be something that we're going to need. Equipment rental, used office furniture, local lumber supply. We've made some phone calls for some of these items. Some we've had some success, but we know that in the future, some of these other projects we're going to struggle. So we will definitely need some help with these. Office cleaning, folks that just do cleaning services, we could definitely use some help with that. And then companies that do construction cleaning. Sometimes there's ongoing construction cleaning that we need to contract with folks that come out and do. Final building cleaning is also somebody that we would be looking to enter into a contract with. And then anybody that does snow removal that can do it on base, we'd be looking for some folks that can do that. And then local college internships. Part of Walsh is Walsh definitely looks to promote within, and Walsh is always, I actually got my start with Walsh as an internship while in college, and we'd also be looking for avenues that we could get plugged into the local universities to possibly do a presentation and then do a meet and greet to see if we can find some interest from students that would be willing to do internships on Ellsworth. And then just in general opportunities to engage with the local community. And something very near and dear to my heart is I like to eat, so we need a list of your best and favorite steakhouses. Here's some of the project contacts here at on this project on the low observable restoration facility. We've got Dan Gallagher, my senior project manager. And there's my contact information. And we have Will Minkler. He's our site superintendent. General overview. He's, manages our schedule and manages the day-to-day coordination and logistics on the site, and when sub to get in and when and where they get into the project. And then we also have Tina Hammond. She's our project administrator. I apologize on the email there. I messed that up. That's supposed to be T Hammond. Our Walsh Group's got pretty easy email system. Her email is just thammond@walshgroup.com. But she's kind of actually the brains of our office. So there's not much that gets through that she doesn't have a handle in or touch. And so we've got a fairly large group. We've got about 13 folks in all that we'll have on staff for the duration of the project. But certainly those 4 people there can get you pointed in the right direction. Any questions?
Well, thank you, Jason. I'm checking the chat. And if somebody wants an RV spot in Colorado, I can't help you with that one. Sorry. Let me just check Q&A here. Don't have any open questions at this time. Well, thank you, Jason. I think that most of those needs that you have are going to be similar to other contracts as well. The biggest one, obviously, being the housing. We should have some additional discussions about housing. We as a community need to step up and do whatever we can to help you with that. We do have a housing coordinator through Elevate Rapid City, might be able to help. And there's a number of local developers that are stepping up to provide that. And thanks for bringing that to our attention, Jason. We'll try and see if we can't reach back and give you some help on making sure that whoever comes to town has a place to live here. I'm checking for any other questions before we sign off. Let's see. I'm not seeing any at this time. So I want to thank our speakers, Jason, Andy, Charlie, and Naomi, for coming on. In March, I believe the date is March 16th, but we will be hosting our Black Hills Defense Symposium. It's a discussion of a bigger strategic discussion on defense industry related topics. But one of the things that we're going to have on the agenda is another update. I saw as many as four of the construction projects. The pricing is due this month. So with a little luck and the high efficiency that we expect out of our Corps of Engineers folks, they'll have those contracts awarded by March, and maybe we can give an update on other contracts that have been awarded, and similar needs are going to be addressed by those folks as well. So I invite everybody on the call to be watching for our Black Hills Defense Symposium announcements. We're just finalizing the agenda and the speakers. It looks like we're going to have some terrific speakers coming in from Department of Defense and other areas that I think will be interesting to everybody. Does anybody have any parting shots? I'm not seeing any new questions. Well, with that, we've been at this just about 45 minutes, and that's what we were targeting for. So we should be in good shape. Any comments from any of our presenters? Well, very good. On behalf of the Black Hills Military Advisory Coalition, thank you for attending today, and we look forward to seeing everybody at the Defense Symposium in March. And with that, I think we can sign off, Len.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting this.
Yeah, thanks thanks everybody for hosting this, and we look forward to providing updates in the future.